Hey everybody, I have a super fun video to share with you today. So a couple YouTubers have gotten together to do a little scrap roulette kind of YouTube hop. So somebody in our group has randomly picked 5 items. I watched her, it was completely random, picked 5 items out for us to use, and the 5 items were ribbon, vellum, flare, ephemera, and a roller date stamp. So I have all of those things kind of picked out. I have to say I have not used ribbon on a page in forever. So the ribbon poses the biggest challenge for me. Vellum, flare, and ephemera I use on almost just about every page. And actually my date stamp too, I use just about on every page right now anyway. So the biggest challenge for me was ribbon. So I really focus on the ribbon in this video. So I took a piece of paper and just added a whole bunch of white gesso to the background. I wanted to make it a little bit lighter. My theme for this page is a photo of me. I just started back to work this year as a teacher, teaching AP Biology. I have been home for 7.5 years, so it is a big change for me, and I am absolutely loving it. So this photo is about that. So I needed to use that piece of ledger paper, or actually it looks like notebook paper for my background. So I had to dig through my stash. It's an old basic gray piece. And I painted it, went over it a little bit with some white gesso. My design plan here is to kind of cut out some circles from that background paper and fill the circles with different patterned papers and strips of ribbon. I am using the Saturday, I think it's just Saturday collection from American Crafts, Dear Lizzie. Yeah, the Dear Lizzie Saturday collection. And you saw I just traced some circles on some scrap paper. And these are the size circles I know I'm going to use on my page. So I have 5 circles. And this kind of segment of the video here is just me filling in those circles. So there's my first piece of ribbon. It's that black and white striped ribbon. I love it. It's so pretty. And I just recently, if you go back in my video list, you'll see I just recently had a huge scrapbooking destash, and I got rid of a ton of ribbon because I never used it. So I saved very little, but what I did save, I really like, obviously. So so I didn't have very much to work with, but that's okay because I don't really use it much anyway. But now this kind of inspired me. Watch me go out and buy a whole bunch of ribbon now. No, I won't. But yeah, this little box here is all I was left with. I had probably quadruple this amount, but I'm trying to find ribbons that kind of match the colors in this collection. I mostly kept black and white ribbons and kind of neutral ribbons, and then only a couple colored ones. So this skinny piece of ribbon I'm working here with, it's kind of hard to see, but it's white, and on the edges it has like a metallic silver. And I wasn't going to use it at first, but then I used it on the first circle, and I thought, you know what, I really like that little bit of metallic. So I add that piece of ribbon, the metallic, the white with the metallic, on every circle here. And I think that kind of helps unify my circles a little bit. Also on these circles, I'm trying to match all the colors and trying to get all the same colors on the circle. So I had this white ribbon. It's not even really ribbon. I don't really know what it is. It's kind of like wire lace thing. And I had the idea to paint it yellow with some mist. And it worked, but the ribbon was too thin. It didn't, like, too lacy. It didn't show up against the background. And then I tried with that little piece of crepe paper there, and duh, you can't get the crepe paper wet because it just tears and kind of melts. So I had this kind of twill ribbon that I'm going to use, and I'm going to paint that yellow with the mist and a little bit of water. My only issue with that is once I did that, it took forever for that to dry. So actually I ended up just stitching it down because it just was still very damp. But I thought that was a good way to get the color that I wanted, and it matched pretty good. I was really surprised, so I was happy with that. So I have a couple more circles to go here, and again, I'm just mixing patterns, and I know that not much of these of all the patterns are going to show on the circles, especially these smaller circles, because my plan is to use the ephemera and kind of embellish some of the circle bits and clusters. So, I'm not really too worried about being too picky about what part of the patterns are showing and things like that. I'm kind of just putting the strips down again, but I am trying to match the colors. There are so many different colors in this collection. At first glance, I thought it was just kind of blues and pinks and yellows, but there's like 2 different shades of green, and there's actually lots of different shades of blue. So it's really pretty. So there's that silver ribbon again. I'm kind of adding in. So my plan is to use these circles as behind my background. So I'm going to go back to my background page here and cut out the circles from my background page and put these pattern circles that I'm making underneath. So I'm going to put them on there from behind. This glue I'm using, by the way, for my ribbon is called Fabric Fuse, and it's really good for, obviously it's for fabric. It's from ThermoWeb, as is the mixed media glue, and it's really good for ribbons or any type of fabric type of material that you might use, felt, anything like that, that you might use on a page. Okay, so my gesso has just about dried. It's not completely dry. It's also still a little bit damp. And I'm going to go back and use the same size circles that I traced on the scrap papers there. I was just trying to remember which ones were which. And this template, oh my gosh, I've had this forever. It was one of my first scrapbooking purchases. I mean, it's got to at least be 10 years old. I love it. When you have to cut out circles, I mean, I don't really use my silhouette when I have to cut out circles like that. I think it's just as fast to trace them like this and then cut them out with a knife and a mat, which is what I'm going to do here. So anyway, on that template, I measured each circle and I wrote down what size each circle was. So, okay, so I'm not going to bore you with cutting all those out. I went through, cut them all out, and now this is the fun part. When I first put the circles behind, I'm like, oh, how is this going to look? So it was a little bit busy, and it still is a little bit busy, but I don't have much else going on the page, so that's okay. But I like it, and I like the colors, and yeah, it's fun. And I like the little ribbon bits in there. This ephemera pack is from Simple Stories. It's from the Carpe Diem line, which I actually thought Carpe Diem was a good phrase to use, possibly on this page. I don't end up using it, but I pick out a couple of the other bits. I pulled out that journaling tag, and I'm like, duh, why am I going to use a journaling tag that says details when I already have lines on my paper? So I actually just go through and do my journaling on right on the background paper on the end. It's already lined. So I'm going through the other things in this collection. I have a whole bunch of stickers and little bits. And when I decided to use this collection and these colors for that clear sticker, the clear sticker with the black right now that says the best time for new beginnings is now. I mean, I saw that and I'm like, okay, I'm using this collection because that sticker is what really inspired me, and it was just perfect sentiment for my photo. I don't end up using half of the little bits that I pulled out from the ephemera pack. They were all really cute, and I was surprised at how well the colors matched, because when I look at that Carpe Diem line, the colors are a lot brighter than this Saturday line, which the colors are a little bit more muted. But yeah, so they match really well. Okay, so I have just gone and stitched with some navy thread over my circles and some of the bits there. And I just splattered some Primrose Mist and Mustard Mist, Heidi Swap Mist, and I layered some vellum. I'm going super fast here because this part was kind of slow. I layered some pattern vellum behind my photo, and I thought it would be cool to layer 2 patterns. I initially just had the white one, And then I put the one with the red polka dots behind it, and it kind of made my frame a little bit tiny pink. So there's 2 patterns of vellum behind my photo. And then I added a piece of foam, craft foam, to the back to help pop it off the page a little bit. I'm adding that little green arrow right there because there's green in the big circle, a strip of green, and there's green on the top circle, and I had to complete my visual triangle. So I added a little green arrow there to the left. There is my flare up there on the second circle down. It is from a shop in Canada called Cuts to Love. I have used a lot of their flare lately. Such a cute little shop. Oh my gosh, I bought so much and I'm going through it like nobody's business. I'm using it on like every single page. So, but it's just been perfect. It's matched all the pages I've been doing. So check out that store. I'll put a link in the description. Oh, this little cloud, I don't know if you noticed, but it did have the word dream big. It was kind of in like a teal blue, and it just wasn't standing out enough. So I went through, I didn't get this on video, I went through and traced over it with a Sharpie. And I did the same thing with that heart there. I traced the heart with the outline of the heart with a black Sharpie. Okay, here comes the date stamp. So I have a whole bunch of date stamps, and I keep them right on my scrappy desk because I use them a lot. So this one, I'm going through and stamping, and I get the little corner of ink there. It makes me so mad. So I go back and eventually end up covering it up with a sticker. And then this last one I just did, it didn't stamp all the way the first time because I wasn't paying attention, and so I tried to go over it again, and it's totally blurry. And it was a phrase, and it says, "This happened." Ugh, what a mess. And that little thing drives me crazy. So I have to find something to cover it up. I'm trying all these different stickers. I try some enamel shapes to cover it up. Actually, you will see me put the enamel shapes down, I think, in the video, but I actually end up taking the enamel shapes off and adding in another piece of the ephemera. So I added the one of those stamps, it's just like a little star border, so I add that in 3 places as well. The title, underneath the cloud, and then to the left there underneath the phrase, kind of, again, to create that triangle. So for my title, it's going to be Workin' Girl, and I wanted to pick up some of the silver foil metallic silver that was in the ribbon. And if you've seen any of my videos for ThermoWeb, you know they have deco foils, which I use in a lot of projects. So I am going to foil the bottom part of these letters, and I'm using the spray adhesive. It's just like a spray can of adhesive, spray glue kind of, and it dries quicker, I think a little bit quicker than the other ones, and I think it provides better coverage. And then I've just cut a piece of foil, and I'm going to just kind of burnish the foil over the bottom part of the letters with my finger. And the great thing about this stuff is that if you miss an area, which you'll see my letter I is a little, I think I put the foil on too early, because if the glue hasn't dried all the way, what happens is when you put the foil sheet on, you actually pull the glue off of the surface that you're working on. So I'm trying to fix it with the glue pen there. Again, I just didn't let it dry long enough. It has to be tacky, and it was still a little bit wet. It wasn't tacky, it was still too wet. But anyway, my point was you can always go back like I'm doing here and add on more glue, which is awesome. So those came out really pretty, and I am going to use that technique again. These letters are wood veneer, so it really stuck really good to the wood, and I love how they came out. So I don't add too much more. Oh, you can see that I've added the enamel dots there underneath the G on my page. I added those enamel dots underneath there to cover up that little mishap I had with my date stamp. But I actually take those off and I add in a piece of ephemera. And the piece of ephemera I added in was a pencil. And it came from the Carpe Diem ephemera pack. And I had to put it in because it reminds me of school, and I'm a teacher, and so I absolutely had to put it back on there. So, and I added some stars, some enamel stars as well. I've got some white stickers here for the other part of my title. It says Workin. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but you can see it better in the close-ups. And that about does it. So this was really, really super fun. I am so glad that somebody has challenged me to break out my ribbon stash because it really needed to have the cobwebs dusted off it. And it was a little bit of a challenge, and it was fun. But I think, yeah, like I said, the other things that were picked for this time around, I didn't think were that difficult to use. But so here's my finished page. Look at that foil. Didn't that come out awesome? And there's the pencil. A couple other close-ups. So please be sure to hop around to all the other girls' videos today, and I am sure that you will be inspired. And give this a shot yourself. Try to use these 5 items. Thanks so much for stopping by. See you soon.